Okay. Hi, and very pleasant day. First and foremost, thank you for all that joined this meeting today. For this meeting today, we are going to discuss about our healthcare service company meeting for the hospital at the subject of DPB40103 organizational behavior. My name is Ahmad Aiman bin Shamsul Anuar, matrix number 01 DPM 20F1017, and my role in this meeting is the Chief Executive Officer. And for my other group members, this is the names and matrix number. And now, for my roles, I'm going to explain about the history of our Korea company. In November 1998, Polya Ipoh was established through the listing of Polya Healthcare Berhad on the main board of the Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange KLSE. With 275 beds currently available, the hospital has expanded by leaps and bounds. In May 2001, Polya Ipoh Specialist Hospital was regarded as one of the best hospitals in Perak for offering healthcare services to the populace. With 75 beds at first, Polya Ipoh then ISC Ipoh Specialist Center opened. After Perak Corporation acquired Polya Ipoh in 2005, the hospital rose to new heights and is now a multidisciplinary tertiary care facility that provides a wide range of services in one convenient location. The community in the state of Perak is provided with a wide variety of services by Polya Ipoh. We were the first hospital in Perak to offer cardiac thoracic services, saving the locals from having to travel hundreds of kilometers from Penang to KL for cardiothoracic surgery. In addition, Polya Ipoh was among the first private hospitals to offer neurosurgery, oncology, and cardiac catheterization. It was also the first hospital in Malaysia to receive a successful OSAS certification, the first hospital in Perak to receive a full MSQH certification, one of the first polio hospitals to be granted BFHI status, and the first polio hospital to successfully introduce the baby Hajj. To enhance our healthcare services, Polya Ipoh has put in place a number of plans and initiatives. Being a part of the Polya healthcare groups give the hospital significant advantages over its competitors, which we may use to manage new problems. The fulfillment of the objectives is streamlined via continuous improvement and the application of quality activities such as the IMS to standardize the system and work process. We have taken the risk of obtaining the food safety management system in response to the current unmet public demand. We are lucky to have our own colleague for allied health and nursing. Given the shortage of doctors and nurses in the industry, this is clearly at Polya's advantage, which we may use to manage new problems, particularly those involving organizational behavior among our staff and patients. Now, I'm going to pass for the next presenter.
Okay, thank you, Aiman. Assalamualaikum and good evening to all of you. My name is Muhammad Fikrie bin Nazri. My matrix number is 01 DPM20 F1007. I am the Human Resource Assistant in our company. Now, I am going to explain the ways to sustain organizational culture in our company. When it comes to culture, the term culture is referred to values, beliefs, morals, custom, habits, and also knowledge developed by the people living in a society. Whereas the organizational culture is involved values, beliefs, attitudes, expectations, and so on by the employees in an organization. A good organizational culture will create a stronger employee commitment and performance toward organization. So here are the ways on how to sustain a good organizational culture. There are 3 points that need to pay attention, which is selection process, top management roles, and socialization. So the first one is we must careful in making selection of candidates. Standard procedures should be used to hire the right people for the right jobs. The trained personnel will interview the candidates and attempt to filter those whose personal styles and values do not fit with our organization's culture. by identifying the candidates who can culturally mesh with our organizational culture. This selection process will help to sustain the culture. In addition, the selection process also provides the candidates for an information about our organizational culture. So if the candidates perceive a conflict between their values and our organization values, they can decide themselves to not to join our organization. The second one is our top management must carefully in taking an action. Through what they say, how do they behave, is very play a big role in an organization. The top management line must pay attention in several aspects such as establish norms that filter through the organization whether it is risk taking is desirable or not, and then deciding on how much freedom managers should give to their subordinates and what is the appropriate dress code, and also what actions will pay off in terms of pay rise, promotions, and other rewards. So this is very important for top management to ensure that the culture in the organization will continue to remain because it will give major impact or otherwise we will lose our organization's culture. So that's my point on how to sustain our organizational culture. Now I am going to pass on to the next presenter to continue the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Fikrie. So, hello everyone. My name is Milon Benjamin Ronald, and I'm one of the employees in the Human Resource Department. So, I would like to give my opinion regarding the ways to sustain the organizational culture, and that is socialization. Next slide, please. Okay. Socialization. Organizational socialization is the process by which people learn about and adjust to the knowledge, skills, attitudes, expectations, and behaviors needed for a new or changing role within the organization. Organizational socialization focuses on organizational membership. Socialization is also mean by which social and culture continuity are achieved, and it describes a process which may lead to desirable outcomes, sometimes labeled as moral. So, next slide, please. So, now I'll be explaining about the three stages of organizational socialization. So, the first one is the pre arrival stage, the second one is the counter stage, and the third one is the metamorphosis stage. Next slide. So, the first stage is the pre arrival stage. Part of the pre-arrival stage is the selection process, which is used by the company to hire people who can adequately perform the job, but also select people who will fit well into the culture of the company. The selection process provides the organization with information about the candidate, but also the job seeker information about the organization. And candidates who find that their personal values do not match the core values of the prospective company should disqualify themselves from the selection process at this time. Second slide, please. The second one is the counter stage. So this is where once the candidate accepts the job offer, they enter the counter stage. This stage is where the expectations of new employee meet the reality of the job. If the reality of the new job is different than what the new employee's expectations, socialization methods are used to adapt the new employees to the existing culture and to help them make sense of the culture of their new organization. Socialization methods such as it could be stories, it could be materials, symbols, and languages, and so on. And next slide. So the third stage is the what they call metamorphosis stage. That's the third stage. So this is where the new member must work out any problems discovered during the encounter stage. These may go through changes, and a successful metamorphosis should have a positive impact on the new employee's productivity and his commitment to the organization and reduce the chance to leave the organization. So I guess that is all from me. Now I would like to pass it to the next person to continue.
Thank you, Milon. Assalamualaikum and greetings everyone. My name is Syazwana Binti Johari and my registration number is 01 DPM20F1016. As the Human Resource Executive of the Poly Hospital, I will explain the methods to transmit organizational culture to employees. We can see on this slide there are four ways to transmit. First and foremost, we may transfer company culture by telling stories. A story might highlight a key incident that an organization encountered and the collective respond to it. Or it can showcase a heroic effort by a single person that illustrate the company's ideals. Moreover, stories shared with new employees express the company's history, beliefs, and goals, while also establishing a link between the new employee and the firm. For example, next slide please. You may already be familiar with the story of how a scientist at 3M invented post-it notes. Arthur Fry, a 3M scientist, was using slips of paper to mark the pages of hymns in his church choir. But they keep falling off. He remembered a superweak adhesive that had been invented in 3M's labs, and he coated the markers with this adhesive. Thus, the post-it notes were born. However, marketing surveys for the interest in such a product were weak, and the distributors were not convinced that it had a market. Instead of giving up, Fry distributed samples of the small yellow sticky notes to secretaries throughout his company. Once they tried them, people loved them and asked for more. Word spread and has led to the ultimate success of the product. As you can see, this story does a great job of describing the core values of a 3M employee, being innovative by fine. Next is the rituals. Rituals refer to repetitive activities within, a, within an organization that has symbolic meaning. Usually, rituals have their roots in the history of a company's culture. For example, we can see on the next slide. At the cosmetic firm Mary Kay Inc., employees attend award ceremonies recognizing their top salespeople with an award for a new car, traditionally a pink Cadillac. These ceremonies are conducted in large auditoriums where participants wear elaborate, even gowns and sing company songs that create a connection to the company, culture, and its value, such as self-determination, willpower, and ethicism. On the other hand, next slide, we have the material symbols method. Symbols communicate organizational culture through unspoken messages. When you walk into different businesses, do you get a feel for the place like formal, casual, fun, serious, and so forth? These feelings you get demonstrate the power of material symbols in creating an organization's personality. Material artifacts created by an organization also speak of its cultural orientations and make a statement about the company. These material symbols convey to employees who is important, the degree of the equality desired by top management, and the kind of behavior that is expected and appropriate. For example, is shown in the next slide. Okay. On this slide, we can see top executives may be provided parking space on business grounds. Big offices may be given to senior managers, and luxury vehicles may be given to a senior or successful officer of the corporation. Last but not least, next slide. Many organizations and units within organizations use language as a way to identify members of a culture. By learning this language, members attest to their acceptance of the culture and their willingness to help to preserve it. We have discovered that utilizing materials may significantly influence the organization's perception of formality and how individuals subconsciously treat others. Language like we and us, when used consistently, can significantly foster a culture of inclusion and highlight the importance of a team rather than individual. Employees may be further emphasized by training them on how to be a team players. We have come to the end of our company meeting presentations. I hope now you all will understand the ways to sustain the organizational culture and the methods to transmit it to the employees. That is all from us. That is all from our group. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.